Says, regardless of the particulars here, this does raise some serious constitutional issues. Fox News senior judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano. What do you think?
Well, I think that Mr. Siciliano's concerns are correct, and here's why. When President Nixon used the FBI and the CIA and civilian-clad military to take pictures of people during anti-war protests in the 70s, the Supreme Court said it was unconstitutional, and after Nixon left office, the Congress enacted the Privacy Act, which specifically prohibits any branch of government from copying the faces or the words that people use and from storing those in records. It also prohibits the government from watching you while you browse a book in a library or getting copies of the books you take out of a library. What is the internet? It's a modern-day library. It's the gateway to knowledge. Just as the government can't be over your shoulder with a camera when you're browsing through books in the library, the government cannot watch you as you browse through a website or browse the internet. It's equally as prohibited by the Privacy Act.
And you've been arguing it's the drip, drip, drip of this stuff lately out of the administration. It's worried you. The president responded to this outcry over a separate issue, this snitching issue. Here's what he had to say today.
If you get an email from somebody that says, for example, Obamacare is creating a death panel, forward us the email and we will answer the question that's raised in the email. Suddenly, on some of these news outlets, this is being portrayed as Obama collecting an enemies list. Now, come on, guys. Here I am trying to be responsive.
The laws that he's taken an oath to uphold, because one of those is the Privacy Act, which was especially written to prevent the President of the United States or anyone acting in his name from gathering the names, faces, images, voices, or words of people who disagree with the President.
So even if you want to take him at face value that he would have this is just an innocent gathering of information, then you got to make the leap that everyone with whom he serves is of the same mind. And as we know from history, that's not always the case.
No, of course that's not always the case. Look, there's a lot of problems here. The Patriot Act, which you've heard me rail against, allows federal agents to write their own search warrants to capture keystrokes. Now, they can't use that information against you to prosecute you because it was unlawfully obtained and you don't even know they're obtaining it. The Privacy Act prohibits them from doing so. The Archives Act requires the White House to keep all communications it gets. The Privacy Act prohibits them from keeping the names of people who disagree with them. So there's a lot of statutes that are inconsistent. But what is clear is that the government cannot monitor your thoughts or your words or your ideas. Where are they expressed? When you browse the internet. Every single one of those cookies that he proposed.
So then asking others to send them along is just the same thing.
Absolutely. It's equally as prohibited under the Privacy Act.
And Judge, scary stuff.
It is scary.
Anyone in the White House is invited to come on and chat with me, the gardener, the chef. If you guys are upset, please.
And you'll serve real cookies.
I will.
Right.
Lots of them.